This review was made possible by contributions from viewers like you.
Hey guys, what happens when you take a really strange story and try to ground it in some kind of reality with historical parallels? You get an even stranger story. This is the Nutcracker, the Untold story. After a rather pleasant opening title sequence with the Dance of the Sugar Plum Fairy playing in the background, our movie opens in 1920s Germany, which is an excellent setting for a Christmas movie since there was absolutely nothing bad going down at that period whatsoever. And I gotta say, it's not every day that a movie brings along its own soundtrack wherever it goes. Convenient. Then we meet our main character, Mary, played by Elle Fanning. You remember, the actress who gave us this unforgettable scene?
I know who you are.
Do you?
You're my fairy godmother.
If she mistakes the Nutcracker for her woody godfather, I'm out. Anyway, all she wants is to have a nice Christmas, which is hard to do since her little brother Max keeps lighting things on fire. We then meet Nathan Lane playing a character of no historical significance who you won't recognize at all.
Hurry! Mary and Max will be waiting. And now I'll be on my way before my voice gets any higher.
We jump back to Mary's house, where we see that her mother, who I'm pretty sure got caught in the curtains while she was getting dressed, has been invited to sing at the palace. Mary and her brother, however, have to stay home. You might think it's a bum rap that the kids have to stay home while their parents enjoy themselves, but remember, Max has a little affinity for fire. It's a wonder that he hasn't been locked away in a nut house yet. Speaking of nuts...
Such a beautiful city, don't you see? Don't feel pressured to answer. It was a rhetorical question. But you know, I have the strangest feelings that we are being followed. I'd better check. We are not being followed. Now I'm a little disappointed.
I'm more confused than anything else. What was the point of that? He has a few Christmas presents for the kids. A dollhouse that he's had on him for the last 30 years, and a Nutcracker that looks like Pinocchio from Shrek.
I call him NC for short.
NC? Does he remember it so you don't have to?
But watch out. They say he is the most wanted doll in town.
Who by?
I would tell you, but then I would have to kill you.
And with hair like that, you don't want to call his bluff. Mary is quite taken with this thing for some reason, but Max doesn't see what the big deal is.
It's just a stupid toy. No, it's not. Tell him, Uncle.
Mary is right, Max. What is just a toy for you may be a real friend for someone else. It just depends on your imagination. In fact, I have a theory about it.
You have a theory about everything.
Yeah, it's called relativity.
He has a theory about relativity. That's right, you guessed it, it's Albert Einstein! And he's currently working on the nuclear bomb that is this movie. Then he sings about his theory of relativity, which has absolutely nothing to do with the theory of relativity.
If you're with someone tall, truly vast, unsurpassed, built to last, they will think you're small. Never mind after all, when you meet a petite, short and sweet, they will think you're tall. Up is down, take is give, in is out, whisper, shout, there's no doubt, it's all relative. Who's to say what is or is not? Who writes your plot? You do. This is that, these are those, what is real, what's ideal, what to...
Why is she dancing sexy? Why is she getting turned on by energy equivalents and abacuses? Why did they need to be in their pajamas for this?
Why don't you come live with us? Tuck me in every night.
I'm always with you, dear.
And that's why Mom and Dad won't let you live with them.
Can you tell us the Nutcracker story?
And he just disappeared. Crap. He's her fairy godmother. She goes over to her Nutcracker, which starts talking to her.
Oh, careful! I don't want to get broken again. You can talk. Of course I can talk.
And I'm voiced by Moaning Myrtle for some reason. Isn't that something? No, seriously. They got Moaning Myrtle to play this thing. And they got Hagrid's girlfriend to play the maid. As long as we're making this an unofficial Harry Potter reunion, why not have Emma Watson play Mary? Or, have the Nutcracker be voiced by a prominent young male actor. It's not like Harry Potter was lacking any of those. Anyway, she props up the Nutcracker on the top of her shelf, and falling onto her pillows somehow makes it grow to the size of a small child. Because magic, shut up.
You did it. What do you mean? I mean, I've been waiting for someone who believed like you.
And now all I need from you is to give me your eternal soul! Really, why are they hanging on to this design? If falling on a couple of pillows somehow makes him grow to human size, okay, fine, whatever, but couldn't they make him a little less... Ew! But the commotion causes Aunt Imogen here to see what's up.
I was fast asleep, dreaming, and kaboom! My pillows, well, they exploded.
Exploding pillows? Wait a minute, I thought I heard voices.
Spontaneous combustion. That's the name for it. Didn't it ever happen to you?
Yeah, when I was younger, a boy moved to my town, and he was so handsome.
She asks you if spontaneous combustion ever happened to you, and then you start talking about some boy who moved in next door. That would be weird enough on its own merits, but considering how you're probably talking about Hagrid, that just makes it even worse! And she said that she heard voices. Does spontaneous combustion sound like voices now?
Phew. She would have dropped dead if she saw me, and we don't want that.
And that's on a good night.
You're a pretty good liar. I'm impressed.
Me? I never lie.
Oh, no? Then what was that about exploding pillows?
I was merely being economical with the truth.
I see a great career in politics in her future. NC gets an idea to talk to the other dolls downstairs.
You mean they're alive?
Of course. All dolls are alive.
So, what's the plan?
What's the plan? That's your first question? Not, holy crap, what do you mean all my dolls are alive? Don't look at me like that, I didn't know you were watching! They spare a few minutes so that Mary can get dressed. And remember, all of her dolls are alive and are probably watching her right now. Then they go downstairs where the parlor is suddenly bigger than it should be.
Come on.
Did we get smaller, or did the room get bigger?
If you don't mind me saying, that's a naive question.
No, that's a perfectly legitimate question. There's nothing wrong with a little bit of clarification. If Uncle Albert were to suddenly walk in, would he appear smaller because the room's actually bigger? Or would he be a giant because you're actually smaller? I think a giant Nathan Lane is something worth worrying about. They meet the other dolls in the dollhouse because... I have no idea. Then they board the sleigh to go up into the Christmas tree, also because I have no idea. And I'm sorry, I love weird, strange-looking characters, but I cannot accept the design of this Nutcracker. This is the kind of design you give to a comic relief, not the romantic lead. Even Jack Skellington has more appeal to him, and he doesn't even have any eyeballs! And it's not like this movie didn't have a good art department at its disposal. The rest of the movie looks great! The other dolls look so good that they look like people in costumes instead of toys. Why did they make the Nutcracker look so unsettling? Then they visit that snow fairy ornament that Max set on fire earlier.
You're the snow fairy, aren't you?
Who else would I be? You're my fairy godmother.
Then a bunch of snowflake ornaments start dancing, because we need to connect this to the ballet somehow, and the snow fairy suggests that Mary join them.
But I can't fly.
How do you know if you've never tried?
She can't fly. Some things you don't have to try. You just know. But hey, it turns out that she can fly for this scene. What a surprise. On a side note, I'm curious as to why Elle Fanning seems to have more of a career these days than her more famous sister, Dakota. In the case of this movie, you might think that they'd cast Mary's part with someone with more of a background in ballet instead of someone with more marquee value, except that Elle Fanning can't really dance either, so again, I'm just kind of stumped here. The Snow Fairy exposits about how NC was put under a spell by the evil Rat Queen.
Do you believe anything is possible?
Yes.
Then take his hand.
Don't look down, don't be afraid to touch a star, no matter how far, no matter how bright, your dreams will take flight.
Gah! His fingers have been replaced with bony hot dogs! Then he changes completely back into a human off-screen because they couldn't figure out how to make it happen on-screen without looking incredibly creepy.
You're a boy. Not just a boy, a prince.
Wow. You did it. You believed.
And you released him from the Rat Queen's sorcery.
And you gave him a male voice. That sure was nice of you. He dances with her in gratitude. Then we meet the rats, who were more bestial in this earlier shot when they first arrived, but now they look human. Did the magic affect them too? Why? Why do they look human while these Christmas tree ornaments don't? What is the rhyme and reason between these toys looking like people and these ornaments just looking like ornaments? Why are the rats steampunk? Why do the rats have jetpacks? NC then takes Mary to the top of the tree, which he can do because there's a staircase carved into it. Okay. And apparently Led Zeppelin was right. There is a stairway to heaven. We then get a big exposition dump about how NC's kingdom was taken over by the rats.
He released his army into the city center, scaring all of my people. On a beautiful spring day.
No. Those aren't rats scaring people away. Those are fricking Nazis holding a coup!
Why is there a black cloud? The Rat King is frightened of the sun, so he has to burn everything in his smoke factory, including all the children's toys, just to keep that cloud going.
Oh yes! The Nazi rats have a smoke factory! And the worst things that they're burning are toys! I'm just gonna let that sink in for a minute. And who is the king of the Nazi rats? John Turturro wearing an Andy Warhol cosplay.
We caught them trying to blow up the palace, Your Majesty.
Sabotage in my kingdom? Aren't you ashamed of trying to harm your king? Yes. Oh, so hard-headed. You humans.
Come on!
They had their chance, but humans just couldn't do it. Ran the world so badly that they blew it. Far too bright and breezy, far too free and easy. Freedom makes me queasy, now's the right time for their fall.
Oh my god, where to start with this? 1. He smashes this guy's head against a walnut, which I think would have left some kind of damage on his forehead. 2. Why are these rats more like Who's than rats? If Rick Baker can turn Tim Rolfe into a chimp, I'm pretty sure we have the ability to turn people into rats. By the way, this movie can't make up its mind whether or not these rats have tails. 3. Did the Rat King always have the power to teleport other people? Is that how he got all these stormtroopers into town with no one noticing? 4. Sure, go ahead and make the Rat King want to rule the world because humans did a crap job at it. And give him an affinity for big brass bands. I'm sure that's what Tchaikovsky had in mind when he first wrote the original ballet. And finally, John Turturro singing and dancing. Never thought I'd see that in a timeless classic like the Nutcracker. Then he goes and kills his pet shark for no reason. At least Ratigan for the Great Mouse Detective had the good sense to keep his killer cat instead of just randomly offing it. What was the point of this?
Soon, only us rats will be left. And we'll have an empire that will last 1,000 years!
And is Turturro trying to pull off an English accent? If he's not going to speak with a German accent, why not cast this character with an authentically English actor? Again, going back to the Harry Potter cast, was Ralph Fiennes unavailable?
Sorry, too long.
Lousy brakes.
Ah, my loyal bat rats. What news?
Bat rats. You know, if you want to make the argument that humanity has done a terrible job of ruling the planet and it's somebody else's turn now, why not just make a deal with actual bats? Why spend God knows how many rat dollars on perfecting rocket pack technology when you could just make a deal with bats? Oh yeah, he also has a gallery of crying children. Gee, I wonder if he might be a bad person or something. At this point, I'm almost tempted to apologize to Jared Leto for making fun of his lack of subtlety. Almost. After receiving word about how the prince is no longer a Nutcracker, he goes to his mother, who is also played by Frances de la Tour, to complain about it. Mrs. Rat Queen, are you trying to seduce me? And why are you trying to be Sharon Stone in Basic Instinct?
Because spontaneous combustion.
No!
Come to Mama.
She sends a couple of stormtroopers to take out NC, using the aid of some mechanical rats, which look more like rats than the real rats. I am so confused.
You said the Rat King was frightened of the sunlight. So why don't you just shut down the smoke factory?
That's it. Fantastic.
Maybe some girls are good at military strategy.
And maybe NC is just rock stupid. By the way, this smoke factory, it's every bit the horrific work camp that you're probably imagining that it is. But again, all that they're doing is burning toys. Which is the worst thing they could possibly do. The Rat Queen casts the spell which turns the prince into a Nutcracker again, and... What?! You mean it was a dream this whole time? You go through all this magical bullcrap, and ergo introduce the potential of a dozen other possibilities that could save Mary from falling to a Christmassy doom, and then you go with a cop-out of it just being a dream? Screw you, movie! Mom and Dad come home and, rather mean-spiritedly, blame Mary and Max for destroying the Christmas tree. Suddenly I can't help but wonder why they didn't just make this father the Rat King. You know, like how Mr. Darling from Peter Pan is always Captain Hook. Why not do the same thing here if he's going to be this unnecessarily cruel? They go to bed and continue their conversation in the morning, while Dad's wearing one of Mom's dressing gowns.
A bit of fun is one thing, Mary, but quite blatantly lying is another. Now, give me that doll.
You can't have him. Ever. And I'm not lying. I never do.
Joseph, listen. Do you remember what Dr. Freud told us about child psychology and dreams?
Please, can I have one morning without that quack being dragged into everything?
So we're not going to be told what Freud said about child psychology and dreams? Thank you, movie. So Mary goes upstairs to her room, saddened by how nobody believes her.
They simply say, come what may, I'm lying. But on reflection, I'm simply different. One of a kind, I don't mind. I'm happy here, here with my secrets, here with my passion. Dreams become real, and I feel I'm wanted. Here I am braver, I won't surrender. Safe in my world, and it's all I need.
So, are you upset because no one is believing what you're trying to convey as the truth? Or are you fine because you don't care if anyone believes you, since you can just go off into your own little world? After another inexplicable bout of breaking the fourth wall, Uncle Albert goes back to Mary's house, where her parents have a little chat with him.
What I have to say isn't easy.
If you are discussing our children, I have the right to be here.
I am so European, gosh darn it! Seriously, how many accents is Germany privy to? We've got German, English, American, Tertullian. A little consistency, please? Anyway, they tell Albert that they don't want him in their home anymore, since they don't want him feeding Mary's already overactive imagination.
I know, Mary is a very special girl, we all know that. But she must be prepared for the real world.
Reality is merely an illusion, albeit a very persistent one.
They have him say that quote, but they don't go for, imagination is more important than knowledge? Why not?
Tell me one thing before I go, Joseph. What is in your pockets?
Pockets?
Has it really been so long since you've been a child? Don't you remember? There was a boy whose pocket contained one special treasure, a precious pebble worth much more than any diamond. Holding the pebble, he was king. But then one day, disaster, mishap beyond all measure. The pebble vanished, whether lost or strayed or stolen. The boy felt that he'd lost everything.
No, see, Uncle, this is part of the problem. We can't prepare Mary for real life with just bursting into song anytime there's a problem. Please, just go. Very well, I will go. But when one goes, they cannot get out! I can't believe I'm saying this, but I think I'd prefer Nathan Lane singing about stooping little old ladies. But yeah, him singing about some kind of magical pebble that the dad kept as a child somehow resolves this whole issue. I'd comment more about how confusing this is, but I literally have no idea where to even start with it. Later that night, NC comes back to life again, to the complete nonchalance of Max. He doesn't even throw him an obligatory, "Holy shit, you are alive?" They go downstairs to defeat the rats once and for all, but the Rat King gets the drop on them and captures NC.
I'm not afraid of you.
Or?
Jesus!
Wow! Can you do that again, please?
You want to see more of that? You should be asking for a fresh pair of pants right now! They take the dolls away to be burned in the smoke factory, and Max goes along with them because they have motorbikes, and he really likes motorbikes.
Max, come back! I'll be right back, Mary. Promise.
Come, take my hand.
Max, don't even think about it! No, wait! Traitor!
Millions of dollars thrown into this movie, and that's the take they used. It also turns out that the rats' motorbikes have machine guns attached to them. This is a weird remake of The Mouse and the Motorcycle. Then Mary and that monkey doll, which was not taken away by the rats and is conveniently giant-sized now for some reason, go to the Rat King's palace by walking through a mirror. Because at some point in this movie they decided that Germany was actually Wonderland. They turn tail when this other rat starts skulking around, and... No! That does not happen! If you're punching through the mirror and it breaks, you're not going to be able to get through to the other dimension. Or if the idea is that you do punch your way through to the other dimension, the mirror is not going to break like that. And no, I don't care if it's magic. Just because it's magic doesn't mean you abandon all logic. And oh my god, I'm asking for logic in a movie in which John Turturro leads a Gestapo of rats with rocket packs. How did I get here?
Ah, the art of disguise.
You're a chimpanzee! So, after donning their disguises, they get back to NC's kingdom.
What is this?
The Rat King wants to turn everyone rat.
And they want to make a master rat race, too. Because, burning toys will make that happen. And I'm sorry, but I gotta address this. You have all these parallels to Nazi Germany, right down to there being freaking work camps, and the worst thing that this Rat King does is burn toys? I'm really not trying to be offensive here, but I think it would be more offensive to imply that toys burning is the worst thing that could happen in this kind of story. It's like the Titanic disaster. If you want to make an animated movie about the Titanic, that's fine. More power to ya. Just don't tell us that nobody died. Some might find that offensive. After a weird little number involving mariachi polka music... Because they're ethnically inclusive Nazis? The Rat King tries to ratify Max by having him break some toys.
No one should break another kid's toys.
It's nice to see that he isn't the destructive little monster that he might have appeared to be at first, but this scene needs to have a little more. There needed to be a scene at the beginning where he gives Mary the perfect Christmas present, and she just loves it to tears. Maybe it's a pretty new doll, maybe it's a stuffed animal of some kind, doesn't matter. Whatever it is, she loves it. It's the best present he ever gave her. Now comes the Rat King with his offer for Max to join their ranks, and what does he give him to break? The gift that he gave to Mary. That's when Max realizes just how horrible this all is, and he's just as heartbroken over the prospect of breaking it as she would have been if he actually had broken it. And then for good measure, the Rat King just breaks it in front of him anyway.
God, what a dick!
The Rat King then takes Max away, and Mary sneaks into the factory to save NC. Luckily, she has her other doll friends to help her out.
We have to stop him. Come on. They'll spot you! Then you have to distract them for me. How?
Just do a little breakdance. That should distract them. What? It's the year 1920-something. Breakdancing hasn't even been invented yet. Sticks, you're black. You can breakdance. Huh, I can breakdance. I'll be damned. She finally manages to save him from burning, and... is she checking his pulse? But, oh no, it looks like he's dead and nothing can bring him back.
NC, I love you.
Don't you dare.
NC. You're alive. You did it.
Okay then. She turned him into a real boy with her magical Pikachu tears. For a second there, I was afraid that she was going to do that with True Love's Kiss. And if that did happen, I would have to kick this movie square in the nuts. So, yeah, he's a real boy now. I really hope she reattached his severed leg first. Anyway, NC being back to normal inspires everyone to revolt. which I guess they all forgot that they could do until now. Then we jump back to the rats.
Would you care to explain how a child could defeat your spell?
Who knew somebody could love a chunk of wood?
Clearly her husband must make her very happy.
Maybe it's time to do what we do best.
And what's that?
Abandon the sinking ship.
What?
Abandon the sinking ship.
What?
Abandon a thinking thip. How many ways can he possibly say that? NC leads a little insurrection. Then he locks Mary, and us along with her, in a service elevator so the movie doesn't have to show us how anything went down. Here's Johnny! Totoro! He takes Mary and Max, and they try to escape in this weird prototype helicopter.
Come on, do it for Mama!
Again I say, ew! NC and that chip doll manage to take them down, and conveniently they land right next to where Batman and Robin landed the Batcopter outside of a foam rubber wholesalers convention.
My bananas!
You have more than one? The Rat King and Queen turn into regular rats, because they can do that whenever they want, regardless of what world we're in, and they get away.
That was the evil Rat King, who tried to turn off our sunlight!
And he ran away so we could fight another day! Huzzah! Wait, what? Yeah, exactly how is this supposed to be a victory? The rats got away scot-free! They still have every opportunity to recruit more rats to their cause, so really all you did was buy yourself, I don't know, a month or so before all this happens again? At least with the megalomaniacal rats from Tentacalino, they banished the rats into an insane asylum where they'd be completely stripped of their power and influence. Oh my god, this movie's so bad it's making me say that Tentacalino did something right! Then they sing to Tchaikovsky's Piano Concerto No. 1, which has nothing to do with the Nutcracker. Whatever. Then the movie ends with Mary waking up since none of this ever happened. Yeah, she just imagined the Nazi occupation of Germany. Then Uncle Albert introduces her to a new friend of his.
Mary, I would like you to meet my new neighbor, Nicholas Charles.
Oh, his name is Nicholas Charles! You get it? His initials are NC! Like Nutcracker! Do you get it? I don't think you get it!
You know, last night I suddenly realized that everything is not relative. It all depends on the Lord.
No. No, go back! Everything is not relative? What does that mean? Did this happen? Did this not happen? When did the dream begin and when did it end? What was real and what was made up in Mary's insane coconut? Tell us!
They call me NC for short.
No, they don't! The only reason you called yourself NC was because you didn't like the word Nutcracker since it was a slur or something.
Please don't call me Nutcracker. I hate that name as well. Call me NC.
But since your name is Nicholas, people call you Nicholas, Nick, Nicky, or something like that.
Look what I have. My father's magic pebble.
And if this magic pebble had any kind of significance outside of your drug-fueled hallucination, that might actually mean something. This movie sucks! Like with Maleficent, we have another example of an interesting idea that falls apart magnificently. It's fun to take a fanciful story and place it against a backdrop that you wouldn't normally associate with it, i.e. putting Pinocchio into a sci-fi story in the year 3000, but taking the Nutcracker and turning it into a Nazi occupation story? Even if the movie wasn't rife with lackluster acting, annoying characters, confusing casting choices and character additions, glaring inconsistencies, and just what the hell were you thinking moments, that would be a really, really hard concept to pull off. And bless this movie's heart, it didn't pull it off. The Nutcracker, the untold story, should have remained an untold story. In short, if you really need to see the Nutcracker, just wait until you can see the ballet on Fathom Events or something.
More.